Happening right now at 5:30, we're learning more this morning about a rescue in Clark County. Emergency crews had to pull out a hiker after he fell into a ravine. And a man's behind bars in Madison County after police charged him with murder. Today, an Ohio community honors a college basketball player who lost her battle to brain cancer last week.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning, and thanks so much for joining us. Hope you had a great weekend. It is Monday morning, pretty early for you. If you happen to be out and about, just keep in mind that we could potentially see a little bit of a holdover from last week in terms of the scattered showers, Micah.
That's what it looks like. It looks like, you take a break for the weekend, and then we start to pick up that activity throughout the work week. We've done that the past 2 weeks. And that's the same case for this week. It's kind of weird how it works out, but that's the way it goes. Live sky camera, there's your shot. Nothing going on this morning in terms of anything falling out of the sky, and I don't see any fog issues either. So it's a calm, it's a quiet start. It's very pleasant outside. 63 now in Madison County. That goes for Garrett County. That goes also sitting there in Jessamine County, Nicholasville. We're holding on to temperatures in the mid to upper 50s. And now we'll start off in the upper 50s to lower 60s. We'll finish off this afternoon at 76 degrees. It'll be a good feeling day. However, you will get a few thunderstorms, a few showers later on this afternoon and off into the evening hours. And then the rain really does pick up. Today looks like your driest day, and you still have that rain chance out there, but your driest day is we track throughout the next 4 to 5 days. Here comes that rain. How much are we expecting? Because that could lead to some flooding potential. And I'll go over that latest forecast coming up.
We have new information this morning on a story we first brought you last night at 11. We are learning more about a rescue in Clark County after a hiker fell into a ravine. Emergency crews tell us the hiker fell just after 7 last night near Halls on the River. That's off Athens Boonesboro Road. WKYT's Sean Moody is live from Clark County with the latest on this. Good morning, Sean.
Good morning, Rebecca. Firefighters say this was a really challenging rescue job. They say they were facing steep terrain and water. In the end, it took 3 agencies and about 3 hours to get this man out. Firefighters say it happened around 7 o'clock last night at Harrods Creek Preserve Falls. The falls are about 45 feet tall. They say the man was on his way down from the top when he fell about 25 feet down to the bottom. They said he had multiple serious injuries. Rescuers faced an uphill battle to get him out. They say the terrain there was really steep, and they had to pull out all of their skills they had to put all their skills to work in order to get the man out.
Yes, we had to use different types of rescue in order to get the patient out. There was times where we had to use rope rescue to belay the man down, steep inclines. We were in the water a few times where we had to cross the river multiple times just because that was the best way to get the patient out at that time.
Now, this involved rescuers from the Winchester Fire Department, the Clark County Fire Department, and the Madison County Rescue Squad. They were able to get him out to an area around Halls on the River. From there, they took him by ATV to a bridge near the Clark-Madison County line. That's where an air methods helicopter was able to get him out to UK Hospital. We don't know his condition this morning. Live in Winchester, Sean Moody, WKYT.
Well, a missing persons case is now a murder investigation this morning after deputies in Madison County arrested a man and charged him with killing Francisco Martinez Castillo. Canoers found Castillo's body in a Madison County creek Wednesday. Now Billy Chadwell is in jail charged with his murder. A friend of both men tells us she would never have guessed Chadwell would be involved in a murder investigation.
Nothing seemed abnormal, out of place, nothing with Billy. He seemed like he was just as concerned as everybody else looking for Fran. It's a shame. It's hard for me to believe.
Well, friends tell us Chadwell had been charged with other crimes in the past, but never anything as serious as murder. They say the two men were close friends. A Lexington gas station was burglarized for the second time in less than a week. Officers say at about 1 this morning, a man went into the Speedway on North Broadway. They say the man got into an unlocked side door while the business was closed and sold some deli meat and cigarettes. Last Tuesday, police say a man went in through an unlocked front door and stole antifreeze. In addition, police tell us a woman was robbed there late Friday night. Also in Madison County, a Richmond man is facing abuse charges after police say he tortured a 7-year-old girl. Deputies arrested 23-year-old John Wood Saturday night on Goggins Lane. According to an arrest citation, Wood was intentionally abusing and torturing a girl from November of 2014 through January of this year. No word on the condition of that child. Well, Danville police are still trying to track down a man who shot 2 people inside a club. Saturday, officers found one victim. The other showed up at the hospital. Police are now looking for a suspect, 24-year-old Darwin Cloyd. Cloyd's about 5'7", 170 pounds with brown eyes and black hair. They do consider Cloyd to be armed and dangerous. Well, UK students had a scare this weekend after campus police say someone fired several shots into an apartment complex. Police were called out to the complex on Red Mile Road at about 1:45 Sunday morning. Officers say multiple shots were fired, hitting at least 2 apartments. One man told police that he was in his bedroom when the window was shattered by a stray bullet. UK issued a safety alert for students as the apartment is less than a mile from campus. Minutes after the first call, a man called police saying he was shot in the foot. The victim was taken to UK hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The search is on in eastern Kentucky to find a man who robbed a store at gunpoint. State police say the man entered the Quick Mart in the Cold Iron community of Harlan County at about 6 yesterday morning. Troopers say the man was armed with a semi-automatic handgun, pointed it at store clerks and demanded money. Witnesses say the man was wearing a black full-face toboggan, a black Carhartt jacket, 1 black glove and 1 gray glove. They think he's about 5'6" or 5'10". Today, an Ohio community will honor a teen basketball player who lost her battle with brain cancer last week. A public memorial service for Lauren Hill is set for 7 o'clock tonight at Xavier University. A private visitation is scheduled Wednesday at Mount St. Joseph University. That's where Hill was a student. A private funeral will follow. And some sports teams in Cincinnati paid special tribute to Hill over the weekend. At the Mount St. Joseph University softball game yesterday, both teams wore specially made gray jerseys. Gray is the color of brain cancer awareness. The jerseys had Never Give Up on the front and Hill 22 on the back. Lauren's teammates and coaches were there. Other schools also held their own moment of silence at their games in honor of Hill. Well, it was a close call for a 2-year-old boy who fell into a cheetah exhibit at a zoo in Cleveland. Witnesses say the child may have been dangled over the railing. Rob Sneed has the latest on the investigation.
Very frightening. We were all very, it took a while for our pulse to go back down, let's put it that way.
Horrifying moments as a child and his parents fight to climb out of the cheetah exhibit here at the Cleveland Metro Park Zoo.
We saw parents jumping into the cheetah pen. Both parents were in there.
Mark McConnell tells us the father managed to get the child and the mom out of the exhibit, but couldn't free himself. And that's all it took for McConnell and his son to spring into action and help free that father.
And then a bunch of the men, my son and I, ran up there and we tried to pull the father out. We couldn't get him out of one side. He ran out around another side, but the wall was probably 10 feet. So he had to jump up and grab our hands, and we pulled him out of there.
Unfortunately, we have a number of eyewitnesses accounts that point to the strong likelihood that the child was dangled over the railing.
And that's what the zoo's executive director, Dr. Christopher Kuhar, said in a 40-second statement this evening. Of course, 19 Action News wanted to ask more important questions, like does the zoo's personnel supervise the cheetah exhibit? Does this incident change the current safety measures in place? Questions we did not have the opportunity to ask due to the zoo's media contact, Sanaa Julian.
Chris will give you his statement, all right, and then he's done. Okay. Do not ask him anything. If you ask him anything, I'm done.
We do know that authorities took the child to the hospital to treat a leg injury. McConnell hates to hear that the child is hurt, but is relieved the cheetahs didn't attack.
You know, the cheetahs were sitting there just minding their own business, like they weren't really affected. People were on the other side of the fence trying to distract them, but the cheetahs acted like it was just another day.
Well, the zoo is planning to file child endangerment charges against the parents. Well, U.S. Senator from Kentucky Rand Paul made an appearance on CBS's Face the Nation Sunday morning to talk about his presidential bid. The Republican kicked off his campaign last week. During the interview with host Bob Schieffer, he discussed one of his greatest challenges.
What do you think your greatest challenge is going to be as a candidate?
I think it's portraying myself for who I am and not who people say I am. And that's probably true of all politicians. Your enemies will try to characterize you, and you have to spend your time trying to put forward who you actually are.
Paul also discussed the nuclear deal with Iran and his desire for peace with that nation. Well, just days after announcing his plans to retire, Schieffer announced his replacement on Sunday morning. CBS political director John Dickerson will take over for Schieffer this summer. You can watch Face the Nation right here on WKYT every Sunday morning. Road crews successfully cleared a 1,500-pound boulder from US 52 between Ohio and Kentucky. It took 62 hours to remove the rubble that came crashing down onto the road early Friday morning. The massive rock slid off a hill near the Ashland Twin Bridges. There's still some repairs that need to be made, but crews have reopened all lanes of US 52. Talk about a roadblock, a big one. It's time to check live drive traffic. Hopefully not too many roadblocks or boulders in your way this morning out on the roads. Not hearing of anything like that. I-64 and I-75, northern split looking good. Starting at 9 o'clock this morning, north upper between West 7th and West 6th, the right lane blocked for water main installation. That's through May 22nd, so a little long-term project going on there. There's still a whole lot more to come this morning. Thanks for being here with us. Kids just have the biggest imaginations, don't they? So it's no surprise some kids in Wisconsin used only cardboard to make some games. We'll show you their very creative creations in just a few.
Pretty calm and quiet this morning, but as we hit the afternoon and off into the evening hours, here comes more rain in the forecast. And actually, it gets even worse as we track through the next few days. And I'll show you all that coming up.